Hey everybody, it's Mickie Giacomini, your host of Let's Talk Shop, and I am so excited because it's February, and February is Financial Success Month here on Let's Talk Shop. Today I have with us Steve Dicus, and he has brought a lot of tips for you. He's going to be talking about all sorts of great success tips for tax season. And I know you guys are going to all love what he has to share with you because it's very informational. So Steve, thanks for joining us today. Come on in.
Oh, Mickie, it's good to be here. Good to talk to you and share some information with your viewers.
Oh, we are so excited to be learning more about this because what I've understood from you in conversations we've had is that there are a lot of new items for 2020. And, you know, a lot of people are always freaking out about tax season. So we are excited to learn. Excited. It could be good or bad, right? It could be a blessing or a curse, but we really do want to hear all these new changes. So lay them on us.
Well, one of the first things that you're going to run into if you're working for somebody or you get a new job, they're going to hand you the form called W-4. In the past, we were always used to taking this and putting down, okay, married, single, 1 or 3 or 4 dependents. The IRS totally revamped the form, and it's not like that at all. There's no more dependents on the form. It's totally new. So if you currently have a job, you don't have to fill out a new W-4, but just be heads up, or if you've got kids that are getting their first job and somebody asks you how to fill out the W-4, it's going to look totally different. So beware of that. It all goes off of what your deductions are. Now it's totally different.
So I wonder why did they change the form? Do we know? Is there any rhyme or reason?
Yeah. So basically, per the IRS, they're saying, you know, in the past, we used to get what's called an exemption write-off for every one of our kids and for if your husband, wife, or yourself. We don't get that any longer under the new tax law. And so that had to change. And so beware. And don't freak out.
Thanks for the heads up on that.
Yeah. And something else with the Bipartisan Budget Act of last year, they said, you know, we got to do something for our seniors. And now they've created a whole new 1040. It's the 1040 SR for people born before 1955. And the font style is better, is bigger, and they say it's easier to read. So
that sounds like it's for me.
If you're one of those early baby boomers or before, there's a whole new form for you, which is kind of a cool thing. Another thing that just came out in December, just a little over a month ago, was now in the past, when you had an IRA, you had to start taking money out, required minimum distributions when you're 70 and a half. So starting this year, 2020, it's 72. So if you turn 70 and a half this year, you actually have another year to go before you have to start taking money out of the IRA. And it will be different for people getting close to retirement for planning purposes. There's another 2 years or a year and a half before you have to start taking the money out. So this is—
wait a minute here. That doesn't sound like that's a good thing. Is that a good thing? Because it doesn't sound good to me. I would want my money sooner, but maybe I'm looking at it differently.
The key word is it's required. So if you don't want to take the money out, which I have clients that don't want to take the money out, they've got to start taking it out. But in your case, if you want to take it out earlier, not a problem.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So actually it could, well then that could be a blessing then for people if they don't want to have to pay their taxes on that money earlier.
That's exactly right.
Right?
That's exactly right. Another thing to be aware of, and people call me all the time, especially with this tax simplification that happened last year, is, gosh, my return's so easy. Why do I need to come to you, meaning to me, and pay, money? Can't I just do it for free? And the answer is yes. But when you do a Google search or any type of a web browser search for free filing, realize other vendors are going to come up first that charge 25 bucks or 50 bucks, or there's always a catch to it. So if you go to the irs.gov, one of the first buttons there is file for free.
There you go.
And you file for free. And the Franchise Tax Board has the same thing. Theirs is called CAL File. The IRS is Free File.
Okay.
If you just
No,
have a W-2 or simple return, do it for free, for heaven's sake.
yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you. Wouldn't that be more for people that have simple returns? I mean,
It is.
if it's a little bit more complicated, maybe not, that's not going to be the right route, but you know.
Right, and I don't want to dish some of these ones that I'm seeing a lot of commercials now. You go to this, and I'm not going to use people's names or companies' names,
Right.
but I help people unravel their mistakes when they try to file their returns on their own.
Oh my gosh.
They've made it so complicated for us. It's unfortunate. Something else to be aware of for 2020. Remember back in 2014, we had the Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act, and if you didn't have health insurance, you were charged a penalty. It was a big deal. Well, starting in 2019 on the federal side, the penalty has gone away, but loving the state of California, which I'm a native of,
Me too.
penalty, they're going to start charging a penalty for 2020 going forward if you don't have health insurance.
Oh my gosh.
You need to be aware of that. I haven't heard anybody talking about it. But what's going to happen is if people aren't aware of it, come next year at this time, doing your 2020 tax return, California's going to hit you with a several $100 penalty if you don't have health insurance. You need to be aware of that.
So Steve, let me make sure I'm hearing you correctly. Is that state-based or is that federal?
It is. No, it's California-based. And so federal, because I used to have clients say, it's cheaper for me to pay the federal penalty than to pay for health insurance. But the same thing now, California's gotten on the bandwagon and they're coming up. So this will be a new gotcha for people who are not aware of it.
Oh boy, another reason for people to leave California in droves.
Loving California.
Nice weather.
Oh, it's beautiful right now. Who would want to move? But anyways. And then something else that happened, and I've had a number of people call me about this one. It's the AB Assembly Bill 5. I don't know if you've heard about it or not, but it's dealing with independent contractors versus employees.
Oh.
This is another California. This is a huge thing because for the employers now, for the person who's getting the 1099, that's one thing. But in my experience working in California for the number of years I had, watching these agencies, they were going to become very aggressive going after people that are paying people as 1099s when they should be employees. The California Supreme Court last May came up with the ABC decision, basically stating this is what an employee is. And then Assembly Bill 5 came out after the fact. And it's very, very tight on what's going to happen. And so employers, if you have employees, or if you pay people 1099s to help you with your business, beware. Make sure you're on the right side of the line here, because I think you have exposure. This is California.
I have a question about that. So many of you viewers out there are similar to me and your business owners. And I own a couple of businesses, and I'm just being honest and extremely transparent. I often subcontract out work. So this definitely, like many of you watching right now, this definitely impacts me. And so Steve, my question to you, and by the way, viewers, please drop your questions into the comments below, and Steve will get back to you. We will make sure that this is forwarded to him. Steve, my question to you is, how do you know where the fine line is?
Well, that's where the ABC came from the state Supreme Court. And you can just do a quick Google search, do California ABC, and it actually defines what A stands for, B stands for, and C. It's very clear on what it says. And what I find counseling or talking to some of my clients, just like you were mentioning, well, I'm good on A, I'm good on B, but what about C? And so somebody has to make a decision. And of course, over time, there'll be cases that'll clearly define this, but that's several years out. But the exposure starts now.
Wow. This can be very huge.
This can be huge, and there's a lot going on. There's a dialogue for people that are affected by this, and they're not happy.
Yeah, I can understand completely. I am in shock about this. I was unaware of this. I'm so glad you're on to share these different things. One of the things I'm looking at with that is many of us who own businesses, and when I'm saying own businesses, I personally own a couple of small businesses, like many of the viewers watching right now. So because I personally own small businesses, I don't want to hire a bunch of employees because that just adds a lot more to my plate and makes it harder for me to manage my businesses, okay? So that's why
Agreed.
I hire out for subcontractors. So this is a huge impact for people similar in a similar situation like myself.
You are correct.
Wow. Not
Just
liking
beware.
that one, Steve. Mm-mm.
Well, healthcare mandates, AB5, new W4. I don't know. I might take the year off.
I don't blame you, right? I mean, I'll keep the large print form. That's a good one. We'll keep that one, but get rid of all these other horrible ones. Oh my gosh.
Well, those are some things for your viewers to be aware of, because I'm not hearing it anywhere from anybody else. And I think here at this time, it's going to fall on us. So just beware.
Well, we appreciate you being here today, Steve. We need to have you back. You are so full of knowledge. Can we get you to come back soon?
I would love that.
Okay, let's try and get that set up. We need you back to share even more details, more tips.
Thanks, Mickie, for this opportunity. This is great.
Oh, you bet. Thanks a lot, Steve, for being with us today. And thank you to all of you watching. I hope that you've learned a lot. This is eye-opening. And again, if you have any questions for Steve, drop them in the comments. We'll also pop in his contact information. All right, thanks so much, everybody, for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Okay, you're going to keep recording now and just go change? Or what?
Hold on. Whoops, trying to stop.